To be seated. They're going to bring up the volume for us. If you're near your table, if you take your seat, we're going to get started. We might still have a few people out in the entryway, but if we can get everybody inside, you can find your seat. Wow, this is the most well-behaved I think we've ever had a crowd this big. Wow. Usually it takes 10 minutes to get you all quiet down and seated. And listen, my name's Jonathan Ziert, President and CEO for Greater Mankato Growth Incorporated. For those of you whom I haven't met, thank you for joining us today for our annual meeting. It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you here. I do want to start with special remarks and a tribute this morning, and then we'll begin with our lunch, and then we'll come back with our program. So if my folks running the PowerPoint can put up Tom's picture for us. Tom Riley was passionate about Greater Mankato. The list of organizations and endeavors in which he was involved were immense. He cared for and he contributed immensely towards our regional community's betterment. Tom served our organization in a formative and impactful way. And even on his retirement, he still represented us as an emeritized staff. Tom was a mentor and a dear friend to not just me, but to so many in this room and so many in this community. But Tom wouldn't want us to take too much time to pay attention to him. He'd want us to get back to work with the passion and the commitment for which he was a hallmark. But before we do, I'd like you to join me in a moment of silence to recognize the passing of one who left an indelible mark on our region. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch and enjoy your fellowship. And we'll be back to begin our program shortly after noon. Thank you. Sometimes you just got to back up and punt, right? We live in an imperfect world with great plans, but sometimes you have to think on your feet and just go. Mark Torello, by the way, offered to do a fill-in forecast for me, right? I think he was going to lead with the winds have died down. Huh? Hey, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed your lunch. We have got some spectacular things to cover today. And somewhere along the way, we maybe even get some of the future technology to be a part of that. But what I do want to tell you is that the future is now, right? That's not just a theme. It's not just a call to action that you can invent overnight and decide all of a sudden you're going to think that way and you're going to act that way. It has to be part of who you are. Right? It's got to be part of who you are as a business, as an organization, as a community. Somebody who thinks about, an entity that thinks about what tomorrow could look like and then perseveres towards that. That's what this organization and this community is like. One that embraces the future, that says we're going to help make tomorrow better than it is today. And as we reflect on what we've done last year, which we'll touch on, we're also going to talk about where that's taking us tomorrow. And we're going to do that by looking at three general themes. First, our strategic focus areas. The second, we're going to talk about how we've honed our listening skills and been more responsive. And the third, we're going to talk about your value proposition. So first, let's talk about our strategic initiatives as an organization. Some of these have been with us for a while, and they remain as important as ever. Our regional economic development activity. This has been a collaboration and an endeavor as a community, as a regional community, that's helped build a platform on which public and private businesses can come together and create an environment in which it's conducive for businesses to continue to grow, add employment, and build on their infrastructure as businesses and a community. Our data compels that to us. Last year, we set an all-time high in terms of job numbers at more than 56,000 and continued our pace at nearly $500,000 a year in annual investments over a 3-year rolling period. Public policy. Yesterday was a terrific example for those of you that could join us that day at the Capitol. 2 issues have been at the forefront for us. One, raise our visibility so that we're at the forefront of public policy decision makers. And the second, dip our toe into public policy matters that affect the state of our economy here in our region as well as the state of our community. We've done that pretty well, and probably a hallmark to that is the passage last fall with an overwhelming support of the local option sales tax. The work isn't done, but this community has spoken loudly. The Sports Commission is an opportunity for us to continue to grab a hold of a sports tourism industry that is just burgeoning, nearing $11 million of economic impact for us alone last year, and with volunteers ready to continue to build that out for us to bring even more. And you've heard an awful lot of conversation around agribusiness in our marketplace. Green Scene. It's a way to think differently about agribusiness. It's more than just what happens on the farm in the way of livestock and crops. It's about so many of our businesses in this room, from manufacturing and professional services. In our greater region that Green Scene spans, there are more than 1,000 businesses that are a part of the agribusiness economy. And when you look at the $1 billion of impact, more than $14 billion, that represents 53% of our regional economy. And finally, the most recent strategic initiative that's found its way in front of us and any other vibrant regional community is the challenge we face with talent. How will we fill the impending job opportunities that we'll have in this community? Facing 3,000 job vacancies nearing us in the future, how will we respond? We've begun to as a community. We built a task force. We have 5 key focus areas that people are beginning to move around and develop plans around. It's a messy experience when you do things at a community level, but I want you to know every one of those 5 areas now has leaders or co-leaders. They've all begun to develop their work plans. Some of them are so large, the innovative area, that there are 4 different subcommittees. And I want you to come back to Summit number 2 on March 28th with an intention of learning about each of those areas and where your skills, where your influence and your insights can be most helpful in helping us as a community elevate and increase our total overall talent pool in this marketplace so that we can continue to feed this economy. Well, that's the first area of strategic objectives. The second is for an organization like us that's member-based, that's focused on stakeholders and partners to make sure that we're listening. Right? What is it that you're talking about? What is it we can do to be helpful to you? Now, we give a member survey every year. You responded to that member survey this year, and you told us some things about what we could do better for you. First, our business showcase, a long-standing event that's had great attendance and participation, but like a lot of things, they get tired, and they need a little freshening up. So watch for some wow factors this year, if not some reinvention, but as we go forward this year and next, you're going to see that event experience a whole new transformation. Our communication. You appreciate our email communication, our e-newsletters that you get. You've told us that. You really like the quality, the caliber, the information that's there. But what you've also told us is that just like every one of us in this room, we're swamped with the amount of information that we get daily. And if there's anything we can do organizationally to dial back the frequency but retain the quality, then we should try to pursue that. So we will do that. We'll figure out a way to give you as much quality, as much content, but try to not be so overwhelming to your inbox. And then also, and it may not mean as much maybe to some of us that are aging in the room, social media, right? But we have a lot of young professionals in this room. I'm going to talk about them in a second, where social media is important. And it's an important platform for us in business to be part of social media. So what can we do to elevate our presence in social media? Well, that's places I don't even understand yet, like Snapchat and Instagram, and I'm not sure what else is out there. But we're going to figure that out, how to elevate our presence in social media. And finally, speaking of the young professionals, we've got a handful of them here today. They are our future, right? When you look at those young professionals in your business, you should see individuals who are energized, who want to be a part of the conversation in your business, who want to be a part of the community conversation. It's our job, right, as leaders, as folks that work with those young professionals that are responsible for their development, to engage them, to enable them. Right? It's important to them. And in fact, if the magic of technology is with me at this point, can we show Alex's video? Or we're not sure? Maybe. Let's try. Let's see what one of our YPs has to say about how important being a young professional and a part of this community is. Hold your breath.
My name is Alec Peffer. I'm a young professional here in Mankato. Just want to start off by telling you that the young professionals hit a major milestone this year. We breached 200 members, which included 80 new members in 2016 alone. So very proud of our YP program. I just want to say that the success of this program is really due to you guys. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to leave work and grow as individuals, meet with our peers, and I mean, we all know that it's for the betterment of our community. Thank you.
Well, sometimes the tracks don't line up, but you got his point, right? So we have more than 35 young professionals that are here with us today from those 200 plus young professionals that we have, our YPs. Those of you that are YPs, please stand. I want you to take a look at these folks, right? This is the future of our community. Give them a round of applause. Now, your input has been critical in so many other ways. We've been busy listening to the conversation, right, and being a part of the conversation in our core city, in the city center. We've worked with our partners at the city of Mankato and in the city center to focus on the development of a new master plan in Old Town. You've read a lot about that. We've been doing the same with our partners from the city of North Mankato to work on that same focus on Belgrade Avenue, right? In addition to that, you will see published very soon at the start of this year the new City Center Marketplace Analysis, which gives us a full perspective of the vibrancy and the opportunity in our core urban center. And we have a raft of volunteers and passionate individuals that are focused on how do we maximize the innovation in this community, the innovation that we should make more of in our creative and innovative economies. And there's an opportunity for us to create a nexus around that based in our city center. I have to tell you that the amount of partners are involved speak to the characteristics of this community. Partnership happens when you have two things, a high level of trust and a high level of engagement between multiple parties. When you have that, you have true partnership, and this community represents that very well. We have an opportunity to maximize Super Bowl 52. How can we, only an hour away from that event, make sure that it's an opportunity to showcase our community? And leading our City Center Convention Campus, our folks at Visit Mankato have worked closely with our event center, our hotel properties, our amenities in the City Center to continue to position us for new events, new expos, new shows, new conferences that will continue to bring attendance into the City Center and our convention market. And in fact, this year, in October, this October, next October, we will see the largest convention we've ever seen in our community, more than 1,000 attendees. It will have, hang on, more than $250,000 economic impact. $250,000. And finally, in response to the looming workforce shortage, as I've mentioned, what's imperative is that you come back and join us on March 28th for Summit number 2 and figure out how you best can be a part of that. In addition to that, I want you to know that while we're working on that, the professional staff at Greater Mankato Growth Incorporated are working on a few things themselves in ways that we think our organization can play a unique difference in helping us respond as a community to that talent shortage. So watch for more on that. And finally, the third area that I promised to talk about, our value proposition. When you listen to what we've talked about, when you look at the annual meeting annual report that's at your place setting today on your chair, and I hope you'll take time to look at it, I hope you will see the value of this organization, the value of being a member, the value of connecting to other businesses in the community. And when you look at page 12, I want you to look at something we've talked about before. Members of Greater Mankato Growth simply do better than those who don't. What that impact is, we're not exactly sure, but that affiliation creates some sort of an energy that at the end of the day proves to be that our members are the ones who are growing faster, who are investing more, who are thought about more by consumers, and who stay and last in business and have a bigger impact longer than those who aren't. You are a part of that. Now, we might have a little treat for you. They're giving me a thumbs up. I could tell you all day about why it's important to be a member, and you're the choir, but I think it's always better to hear from your colleagues. So, let's see. Okay, Google. How does a GMG membership benefit even the smallest of businesses?
New GMG member Angel from Stages of Change Center can tell you what benefits she has found since joining last November.
Greater Mankato Growth has given me that platform with my membership by putting my information on the website, making the option of before and after hours available to me to come and network, speak with other business owners in the community about my business and make it more widely known. It's also provided me with an opportunity to move away from being a business owner in our community to now being a part of the community of business owners in our town.
Terrific. An Angel is one of more than 1,000 members that are part of Greater Mankato Growth. That's a new threshold for us. We closed the year with 1,015 members. You all did that. That's 45% of our market. And listen to this. That's more than twice the rate of business organizations throughout the country for an average. Twice the rate of market. What that means is our businesses are engaged in the future that they want to help create, more so than any other place in this country. Give yourself a round of applause for that. And I love this. We have more than 300 volunteers from 180 companies that are engaged in the work of what we do every day to shape what tomorrow is going to look like. So, okay, Google, what value do GMG members find in their membership?
Here is a clip from Pantheon Computers and their insight on what value they find in their membership.
The value really is building those relationships, and really a lot of the relationships that we have had in volunteering and getting involved in other organizations in the area really have roots at GMG.
Okay, Google, do you have any other member business testimonials you want to share?
Yes, listen to what Katie Hayes and Linda Miller from Parties and Weddings Plus have to say.
We are a really good pair for what GMG does because you're all about events and celebrating business, and we're all about celebrating those events with you.
And I think on the flip side, what I see daily, are those bits of information, the strategic planning that is provided by GMG for running a small business. And whether you're an individual that can, attend a meeting, I think it's so important that you provide that information on an email basis so that people can look at that and know what's happening at the Capitol, and they can know what's happening locally, and they see what the labor costs are, and all of the information that GMG works so hard to provide all the small businesses.
When we leave here today, and we're not at an event, last year I started a new tradition. I tried to send you out the door with a handful of things that you could do, just 3, that you could focus on today to help our marketplace. I want to leave you with that again this year. The first is talent. I've talked about it a couple of times. We're not going to stop talking about it. I want you to engage. I want you to be a part of that. I want you to mobilize you and others on your team to be a part of helping us solve the talent challenge we face, because it's going to take more than any one of us can bring to the table. Help be a part of that. Help be a part of it. Join us on March 28th to help do that. So that's the first thing. The second, young professionals. We introduced you to a handful of them. Many of you have young professionals in your business that are part of our YP program. Enable them. Engage them. They want to be a part of that. They are that future that we strive for. They're going to help us shape it and shape it the right way. We want to answer a talent problem. They're part of the insight in helping us do that. Let's make sure that we bring that in the best we can. And third, they talked about information. We pride ourselves on being an organization for you that can provide the critical information you need as a business. You help us do that. Every quarter, we deliver to you an opportunity to take part in what we call an economic barometer. Now, that's a critical piece of business information that we gather from our business community that tells us how our businesses feel about the state of the economy. We need you to help us make that an even stronger piece of information by having more of you respond to that. And I can't tell you how important that is when today a number comes out, and for the first time in probably 3 years, we've seen our employment number, month over month, actually have a very slight downward trend. Minus 0.3, which is the first time we've seen that happen. A lot of it has to do with the talent issues that we're facing. But it doesn't tell the story about our community. And that's why your participation in the economic barometer is so important, because it gives us a battery of information we can share with so many others about how well this economy is truly doing. Now, I actually am going to step off the script for a moment. Have a little bit of fun. And one of the most important things we can do is develop our talent. There's about to be a big distraction in your businesses come Monday morning. Right? Huge. Well, how do we make that an advantage for ourselves instead? So one of our member businesses said to us, look, here's what we're going to do. On Tuesday night, we're going to open up the conference. We're going to get in a bunch of appetizers and some beverages. And we're going to divide our staff into a variety of teams. And we're going to create brackets. And then we're going to submit them to you. We're going to pay an entry fee. And a bunch of our other businesses are going to do that. And what we're going to do at the end of the day, as this member suggests, is half of that money that you submit for your entry fee, we're going to give back to the first, second, and third place winner. You're going to get an email later today encouraging you and inviting you as a business to assemble 1 or 2 or 3 brackets, whatever you want. Take it as an opportunity to develop your talent. Build some internal camaraderie, as well as some external camaraderie and competition between your fellow businesses. Watch for that email. Join us in the March Basketball Bracket Challenge. You got to use the words right or you get in trouble. Right? So join us for that. So finally, let me remind you, here's the future is now. And we have an opportunity, like we've done so many times before, to make sure that we shape that future to be the community we want it to be. And as a result of that, we'll not only advance each of our businesses, we will advance the greater Mankato economy. Thank you so much for all of your work.
Can you hear this?
They'll bring you up.
Can you bring me up? Hello? How's that? Is there a button on it?
You could lean over
How's
into
that?
my tongue.
Wow.
Ah.
So in my defense, that was supposed to be the Rocky theme. So I missed the cue. No, I want to start off by thanking everybody for coming today. It's really been an honor to serve you, and I think I say that on behalf of myself and the entire board of directors, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and it's been a really fun time serving. So I'd like to start by saying thanks and recognizing all of our supporters, all of our sponsors today. Abdewyk and Myers, Bolton and Mank, Bremer Bank, Consolidated Communications, First National Bank Minnesota, ISG, Mayo Clinic Health System, the Orthopedic and Fracture Clinic, Pioneer Bank, Profinium Bank, and U.S. Bank. Wow, how much do banks do for our communities, huh? Let's give them a round of applause. I'd also like to, a special thank you here to the university, in particular Dr. Davenport for hosting this great event. So thank you all. Quality 1 hour. KUIC, Marvin, you and your team have really stepped it up. You've really stepped up your game, and I love how you're bringing this message, and a lot of it that comes through this organization and this community to more people. So thank you for that. Thank you for helping make our theme truly come to life. Special thanks to Quality 1 Hour Photo for taking photos today, and for Bethany Lutheran College's Stone Path Studios for recording today's event, and for producing the Volunteers of the Year video. And Alec, that looked like a kung fu movie. But really good job. You did.
Thanks, Todd. Now for our board recognitions. It's our boards who provide consistent, strategic, and bold direction. All 3 of our business units are governed by their respective boards, and we'd like to take some time to thank each of them and honor their outgoing board members. Todd?
Let's welcome to the stage
The chair of the City Center Partnership Board, Tammy Paulson, and our director, Megan Flanagan.
Thank you, Todd and Jonathan. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce and thank our 3 outgoing board members. Please, for the City Center Partnership, please join me in thanking and recognizing Jim Whitlock, Steve Olson, and Larry Krumpetich.
And please, those 3 come to the stage.
Now we need the Rocky music.
Yeah,
Now we need it.
I gotcha.
Thank
You're welcome.
you, Jim, Steve, and Larry for your service.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Megan. Next, I would like to introduce the chair of Visit Mankato Board, Joe Bailey, and our president, Anna Thill, to the stage, please.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to another great annual meeting. We have one outgoing board member this year, and she has been just an absolute pleasure to have as part of our team for a long time. Her name is Jennifer Epper, and I'm looking for her. Jennifer, are you here?
There she is.
She's coming up, and this time she's not bringing any chicken wings with her. She's with Buffalo Wild Wings, and we have enjoyed many treats in addition to Jennifer's much-needed advice on our group. And it is a pleasure for me today to thank her for her service and her dedication to Visit Mankato. Congratulations, Jennifer.
Thank you. Yeah. Nice work. Congratulations, all. Thank you, Joe and Anna. And thank you, Jennifer. This year, I have the honor, as the chair of the Greater Mankato Growth Board, to thank a few individuals that are exiting the executive committee this year. So please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Jim Marzoff, Mr. Jim Beal, and Mr. Rob Else, please.
There you go. It's heavy. Jim, thank you. Hang on. Thank you.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Thank you to every one of our volunteers on all three boards for their hard work, their time, their dedication. Thank you also to Todd, Joe, Tammy, Anna, and Megan, and to your board and to your executive committee members. Let's give all of them one more round of applause for appreciation. Those of you that attend this event every year know that this is a time to celebrate the past year's achievements, but it's also a time for you as members to take care of a little annual corporate business. So, Mr. Chair, please lead the way.
All right, thanks, Jonathan. I'd like to welcome to the stage Chad Serpenot, Secretary Treasurer of the Board, and Rob Else, the Nominating Committee Vice Chair, please. We should keep track of how many times we get to clap today. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. Rob, you should have just stayed up here. It wasn't very convenient. So today, I think I'm supposed to ask if we have a quorum, aren't I?
Yep.
Mr. Secretary.
I've done a lot of counting. We've got a quorum.
Thank you. We have two items of business today. One is obviously approving the minutes from last year's annual meeting, and the second would be to approve our slate of directors going into this coming year. I would like to remind everybody that we are one vote per table, so if you could just take a second to identify who is going to lead the way at your respective table, that would be great. Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting, please. Thank you. Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or any further comments? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Lastly, the second item of business is the election of our slate of directors. Rob Ellis is the vice chair of our nominating committee, and I would say that is not an easy task, right, being on that committee. And so I want to thank him and recognize the rest of the committee here as well. So, Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The nominating committee is comprised of 5 individuals, 2 board members and 3 non-board members that are charged with identifying, selecting, and advancing a slate of candidates for election by the membership. This year, we received and considered 15 applications to fill the 6 seats on the board up for election, with terms running March of 16 to February 2019. We are grateful to have such a strong pool of applicants interested in serving the board, and going forward, this will be even more important as board members begin reaching their limits of their term and retire. But this year, all 6 incumbents, each of whom have served on the board and organization admirably, were eligible and applied for reappointment to the board. The nominating committee recommends reappointing all 6. So on behalf of the nominating committee, we officially submit to the members for approval the slate previously published and that you see on the screen and on your handout. Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the slate.
Thank you, Rob. Do we have a motion to approve the slate? A second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Since we're talking about volunteers, let's turn our attention to our honorees for Volunteer of the Year. Each year, our 3 business units, Greater Mankato Growth, Visit Mankato, and the City Center Partnership, take the opportunity to honor an individual or a group in some cases that they feel have gone above and beyond for the organization and the community. Please help us in congratulating this year's Volunteers of the Year: David Wittenberg for Greater Mankato Growth, Sandra Oakes for Visit Mankato, and Betty Oren for City Center Partnership. Now, we could stand up here all day and read off the list of projects, countless hours really, and leadership each of them has contributed. But that really wouldn't do it justice. So instead, please turn your attention to a short video that we've prepared.
David, you've been recognized by Greater Mankato Growth for your efforts on the Mankato Sports Commission, as well as playing a lead role on the Public Affairs Steering Committee and last year's Journey of Leadership event, which featured the Davis family. These are all very different volunteer efforts. So how do you decide what opportunities to participate in?
So close your eyes and listen.
You know, as I look at those 3 different opportunities, I kind of come back to a couple things that are relevant. One of which is, you know, my wife and I are fortunate enough to have 2 wonderful boys who are very active and have participated in a number of different sports. And so as their sports have allowed us to enjoy other parts of the Mankato community, but also go to other regions, the Mankato Sports Commission was a natural for us, or certainly for me, as we tried to help, I think, support our sports groups locally, invest in additional facilities, and certainly grow that tourism part of it. As it relates to the steering committee, being a professional and certainly calling this place a wonderful community to both work, live, and play in, I think it's important for us to stay engaged around how do we advocate for our region.
So no offense
and so
to
certainly being around
Sandra
other
and Betty.
very smart and
Let's send
strategic
that
minds
video out later for
on the
everybody to
committee have
watch.
been helpful from
And
that
instead,
standpoint.
let's move to bringing
And then
these volunteers to the stage, and let's let them tell us what this means to them to receive this award.
Yeah. I'd like to welcome, can you hear me? Mr. David Wittenberg to the stage, and I just have to recognize, I consider David a very good friend of mine, and I think it wasn't too long ago that we used to call him Hap Halligan, so this is like round 2. But I think the difference that David makes, we all have an opportunity to get involved in our communities. I know you all take that seriously. But the thing that David does better than most people is he takes the time to really engage and to lead. And so, David, congratulations on this very deserving award. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Todd, certainly for those kind comments, and Jonathan, for your leadership. Thank you to Greater Mankato Growth, the staff, and certainly my colleagues in the room. You know, I was recently asked, why do I volunteer? And the answer is simple. It's to make a difference. And as I collectively look around this room and we hear about the accolades and certainly see the accomplishments, I'm proud to say that I try to do my small part. And for that, I want to say thank you to my Stiefel team. Obviously, as employers, it is sacrifice, and specifically to Larry and David for recognizing the opportunity we have to make a difference in our community. The other reason is humility. I think we all can get caught up in our own daily lives, and it's so important for us to step outside of ourselves and recognize both the needs of others, but also the broader need of our community and region. And for that, I want to say thank you to my wife. Not only is she an amazing wife and mother, she's a first grade teacher. And what she does on a daily basis to be in the classroom, to make a difference in the lives of first graders who come to school not with all their basic needs met, is a true testament to getting out of yourself. So thank you for that. The other thing I wanted to say, congratulations to Betty and Sandra. I know it's humbling to be up here. There are so many other countless people that should be recognized. And for that, I say to Tom Riley's family, he was a perfect example of someone that quietly led in our community without having the need to be recognized. So thank you, and I appreciate this.
Very nice.
Thank you. Try not to wrap it.
I'd ask Joe Bailey to join us on the stage to help introduce our next Volunteer of the Year.
Thanks. Right there. Okay. This is also a special moment for us. When we look at Volunteers of the Year, it's really always a hard decision, but the one that we've picked this year from Visit Mankato is really a special member to us. Sandra, if you are... She's coming. She's coming. Sandra, where are you? There she is. For some reason, our people are sitting way in the back of the room. But that's okay. They were going to escape early, but we informed them that wasn't acceptable. So, welcome to the stage, Sandra. Sandra has worked very, very hard in a lot of different areas, and she's been a visible face around our community for many years. And she really has made a difference on Visit Mankato and volunteered. She was one of the first people who spoke up and said, Sports Commission, count me in. A lot of different things. And then she comes to an executive board meeting one day and says, I'm changing my life. I've bought a bar. And we couldn't be happier that she picked up the Spinners Bar. And the legacy lives on with she and her family. And as most of you in this room know, it's in North Mankato, and yes, it is a Packer bar. And she has continued with that legacy from what I know. They also have great cheeseburgers and great food, and they also have ice-cold beer, and always now, big warm welcomes for all of us. Sandra, congratulations, Volunteer of the Year.
Wow, there's a lot of you out there. Whew, this is not my forte, but especially in front of a group of accomplished individuals like yourselves. Thank you, Visit Mankato, Greater Mankato Growth, and everyone for recognizing me as a volunteer. I'm kind of one of those people that like to sit in the back and really not be at the front, but I just want to let you all know that I do truly believe in the vision and mission of Visit Mankato. The visitor economy is so vital to the growth and commerce of our amazing city. The enriching arts culture, our rooted history, the gorgeous parks, rivers, and trails, and our vibrant and growing city center are just a few of our unique assets that make us a must-visit city. I was privileged to be involved with and part of Visit Mankato for almost 9 years. Besides serving on the board of directors and the executive committee, I was fortunate to be one of the founders of the Sports Commission, like Joe said, and also worked in collaboration with the Verizon Wireless Center, the City Center Hotel, and the City of Mankato to help formulate the City Center Convention Coalition. Because I was part of Visit Mankato, I was blessed to work with some amazing individuals that also helped these initiatives come to fruition. So I can't take all the credit for everything, and I really want to thank everyone that's been involved with this that should be up here with me as well. But before I leave the stage, I want to thank my husband Clay for putting up with my crazy schedule, for loving me when I was unlovable, and supporting me no matter what crazy thing I asked him to do. I would also be remiss without thanking Kurt Fisher and Bruce Paradis for giving me the opportunity to work for them at the Hilton. Their investment in Greater Mankato and their encouragement to volunteer has been a huge part of my success and has enabled me to be where I am today. Even though I'm no longer able to be part of Visit Mankato due to the fact that my husband and I now own Spinner's Bar, and yes, again, that's another shameless plug, I will continue to look for opportunities to further support Visit Mankato's mission and to help drive the ever vital regional visitor economy. My hope and wish is that eventually one day the river will not divide us, but unite us. Until that time, I will continue to serve on the City Center Partnership Board, the Sports Commission Marketing Committee, and the Business on Belgrade Board to help encourage the investment, development, and sustainability of both the Mankato and North Mankato communities. Again, I'm very humbled and really am appreciative of this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. That was Spinner's Bar, right?
Yeah. Just to make sure everybody knew.
Spinners? Yeah. Is that apostrophe S? Yeah, okay. Tammy Paulson, if you join us to recognize our City Center Partnership Volunteer of the Year. Thank you, Tammy.
Yes. Well, as Sandra mentioned, she is also on the City Center Partnership Board of Directors and a longtime volunteer for that organization, so she's really a busy gal. It's now my huge honor to recognize the City Center Partnership Volunteer of the Year, Betty Oren from Minstar Bank. Betty has long been a dedicated volunteer for the City Center Partnership and has really been instrumental in all of the great happenings in the City Center. She currently serves on our marketing committee, where you can see Betty setting up tables and chairs and things like that for a Live After 5. Running around when there's inclement weather. Betty is very, very dedicated. She also serves on our City Art Committee and has been very, very instrumental in gaining new sponsorships and new sponsors, being continually to revitalize the program each and every year. So, Betty, it is my great pleasure to introduce you and to thank you for everything you do for our community and especially the City Center Partnership.
Congratulations, Betty. I can hang on to this for you. Okay. I think she gets the bag too, but I'm not sure.
Thank you so much for this recognition. I would like to thank my husband Todd and my boys, who frequently assist me in my volunteer activities. I'd like to thank Minstar Bank for their support and encouragement of me being involved in our community. And I'd like to thank all of you, as it takes all of us to make our greater Mankato area as wonderful as it is. Finally, I'd like to thank God for all of the blessings He has given me. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Betty, and thank you to all three of our 2016 Volunteers of the Year. How about one more round of applause for them? I do have one other recognition that I get to do every so often, and that's to take an opportunity to recognize the chair of our board of directors. Our tradition has primarily been that they serve for a couple of years, and each one of our chairs seems to carve out sort of something that happens during their term, whether it be transformation for one chair or crisis around a CEO for another. For Todd, his acclaim or hallmark under his administration will be really this push towards the future. As we've thought about things like Green Seam, the emergence of things like the Sports Commission in a bigger way, a local option sales tax, right? And the conversation around talent, which he's been passionate about, and a continued focus on economic development as a region and positioning us. Todd has been that force that has continued to push us to think about the future being now. And so part of his time on this board and his leadership of the chair is we'll remember him for that drive to continue to push us forward into what tomorrow we will face and how to make tomorrow better than today. So it's my distinct privilege, my humble honor, to be able to say thank you to Todd as our board chair and present him with a tradition that we started years ago. Now this will give you your workout. This beautiful Vetterstone plaque that's carved with his name in it that says Todd Bluesbrock, Chair of the Board, 2015 through 2017. Please join me in giving Todd a warm round of applause for his service.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're out of time. We're over. You don't believe any of that crap, do you? I got to say, I have had a blast, and this community and this organization and the people that I get to serve with just amaze me each and every day. And you show up to work, you show up to do your part inside of a community, and you want to walk away with getting a step ahead and being a part of something to have an impact and to make a difference. And I think, for me, honestly, personally and professionally, this was more of a growth opportunity than maybe what I gave. I probably received, a lot more than the time that I was given. And I have to start by saying this man right here is a big part of that. I mean, just look at his socks. I'm going to give him a shot at this because last year I wanted him to show his socks and he had a boring pair on. So,
right?
Yeah.
Those with all the colors?
Yeah. We all know his story, but I would tell you the time that I have been able to spend and what I've gained and learned from you in your leadership will last me the rest of my life. So thank you, thank you for that. We all kind of just take our turn here, right? We all have a responsibility to give back, and as the chair, the board of directors, as most of you are probably in this room, I do want to recognize that that has been such an amazing experience as well. And everything in life and in community, it's about relationships. And when you take the time to invest in those, and when you have a purpose together as a team and as a group, we all develop and we all grow. And sometimes we don't realize it's happening. But as I reflect back on my time here, the first thing I think about is, I didn't lead anything. And this is such an amazing organization with Jonathan's leadership. The staff, it's crazy good, right? But that board of directors too, and the perspective that you get to be involved with around that room really does, is really meaningful. So I want to thank the board of directors as well for allowing me to feed you full of my crap for the last 2 years. And lastly, many of you probably heard me say this, but I always come back to this, and I think about how do we do it as a community, and I have the opportunity to travel a little bit around southern Minnesota and into Wisconsin, and I've attended events like this before, and there's two things that I take away almost every time, and that is they don't have nearly the leadership that we all have here. We're extremely, extremely fortunate. The model we have, it was rough, right? I mean, it was tough to blend all that stuff together and to redefine this model. But there is not a stronger organization anywhere that I've seen. And I get to talk to a peer group from 25 states across the country. And there is not a lot like this. And I think the magic is really in the people. And, so Jonathan, that's another plug for you. And then the second thing is I think we know how to engage our community people better. I mean, I really do think that this organization is a large part of directing and guiding and helping to have purpose and intention around how we all show up. We maybe have a better understanding of how we can get involved and how we can make a difference in the community. If you don't, call them. But That's what I see as the difference, and I think we have amazing talent. You're going to hear a lot about talent in this initiative. I actually hope to be kind of a part of that, but really how I see that initiative is about, yeah, there's going to be a shortage, right? But, it's about how do we tell our story better? How do we teach more people? If you're at your kid's sporting event on Saturday morning, how can we drive some consistency and some just pride in how we tell the story? And think about the power of doing that. And that's the one little part of it, right? I know there's a lot of pieces to this. So I'm honored. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve for the last 2 years. And sorry I went over.
Todd, you've been a terrific leader for the organization and a great representative for Greater Mankato Growth, Inc., as well as Greater Mankato. And I'm not sure what Ron's claim to fame will be. Ron Vetter will take the lead as the chair of the board of directors immediately following the meeting. So we turn it over into very capable hands.
I got to say, Ron, so we implemented a recognition thing in our board, right? So we get a block if you do something really cool and something above and beyond. And so I want to say thanks to Ron I didn't get a block, but I got like a really big stone. And Chad has 2 stones.
Now, we're going to steamroll to the end here, and we're going to have you help us get to the end by participating in a little bit of an exercise. But before I do that, just a couple of housekeeping items to finish. You do have a copy of the 2016 annual report in front of you. You can also download a copy of that later today. You're going to get an email on the bracket challenge you can participate in, and the videos that you couldn't see today will also be available online, and we will make those available to you. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors that we've had up on the stage or up on the screen previously. And remember, I asked you 3 things to think about as you go forward, right? Engage in the talent work, enable your young professionals, and respond to the economic barometer. Now, on to the exercise. We couldn't do this without the great people that we have in this community. First and foremost, from me to our professional staff. As Todd said, they're crazy good. I would like that group of people who make my job really easy and make what we do look really easy and good, even with a day like today when we have to punt and call alternatives. They're still the best in the business. So all of you that are part of the Greater Mankato Growth Inc. staff, please stand for a round of applause. Now stay standing. Please stay standing. Now, I'm going to involve the rest of you. We can't thank every one of you personally, so here's how we're going to do it. If you see your name on a screen up there, and you probably can't see it, but if you're one of our volunteers in one of our volunteer groups, from any committee, from an ambassador to a cavalier, stand up. If you're anyone, I know there's a bunch of them in the room. There you go. If you participate in our YP program, our Leadership Institute, our Mankato Marathon, our Any City Leadership Visit, our City Art, and any of our other events, stand. And the last one will get all of you. And if you give back to making Greater Mankato and Greater Mankato Growth what it is today through your membership, please stand. Now see, everyone is up. Give yourselves a round of applause. Have a fabulous day and enjoy. Thank you very much.